March 26, 1945. 12th Army Group Headquarters, Bad Neuenahr, Germany. General Omar Bradley sits at his desk, reviewing morning intelligence reports. The war is in its final weeks. Allied forces are across the Rhine, driving deep into Germany. The Third Reich is collapsing. An aide enters, holding a message. His face is pale. "Sir, we've received a radio communication from Third Army." "What does Patton want now?" Bradley asks, not looking up. "Sir, it's not a request. It's a position report." Bradley looks up. Something in his aide's voice suggests this isn't routine. "And Third Army reports that lead elements have reached Aschaffenburg." Bradley freezes, then slowly sets down his papers. "Aschaffenburg." "Yes, sir." Bradley walks to the large wall map showing all Allied positions. His finger traces Third Army's last known position, somewhere near Frankfurt. Then he moves his finger east to Aschaffenburg. 60 miles. 60 miles deeper into Germany than where Third Army was supposed to be. When did they advance to Aschaffenburg? "Sir, the message says they reached it this morning." "This morning." Bradley's voice rises. "They were in Frankfurt yesterday. How did they move 60 miles overnight?" "The message doesn't say, sir. It just reports their position." Bradley stares at the map, calculating. If Third Army is in Aschaffenburg, they're not just ahead of schedule. They're 200 miles deeper into Germany than any other Allied force. They're alone. Exposed. Their flanks completely unsecured. And Bradley has no idea how they got there. "Get me Patton," Bradley says quietly. "Right now." The aide hesitates. "Sir, there's more." "More." The message also says that General Patton personally is in Aschaffenburg. He's conducting reconnaissance of routes toward Nuremberg. Bradley sits down slowly. "George is personally 200 miles behind enemy lines?" "Apparently, sir." "With how much security?" The aide checks the message. It doesn't say, sir." Knowing General Patton, he's alone except for his driver, Bradley finishes. "Of course he is." He picks up the phone. "Get me Third Army headquarters. Now. And get me Eisenhower." He's going to want to hear this. 20 minutes later, when Bradley finally reaches Patton and asks him what the hell he's doing 200 miles ahead of everyone else, Patton's response will be vintage Patton, and will make Bradley say 4 words that perfectly capture both exasperation and admiration. This is the story of how Patton's Third Army advanced so fast in the final weeks of the war that even his own superiors couldn't keep track of where he was. And why Bradley spent March and April 1945 constantly asking, "He's where?" Section 1. The Rhine Crossing. March 22 to 23, 1945. Patton crosses the Rhine at Oppenheim. He does it quietly, without the massive preparation Montgomery used. One night, minimal forces, surprise crossing. By morning, he has a bridgehead on the eastern bank of the Rhine, Germany's last major defensive barrier. Bradley calls to congratulate him. "George, excellent work. Now consolidate the bridgehead and wait for the rest of 12th Army Group to catch up." Consolidate. Patton sounds confused. "Why would I consolidate? I'm across the Rhine. The Germans are retreating. I'm advancing." "George, your flanks." "My flanks are fine," Patton interrupts. "The Germans are running. They're not counterattacking. They're trying to get away from me." "George, doctrine says after a river crossing, you consolidate." "Doctrine also said the Rhine was impregnable," Patton interrupts. "I crossed it in one night with some boats. Maybe doctrine isn't always right." Bradley sighs. "Where are you planning to advance to?" "Frankfurt first. Then east. As far as fuel and Germans allow." "How fast?" "Fast," Patton says. Then the line goes dead. Bradley stares at the phone. He hung up on me. Again. Section 2, March 24 to 25. The race begins. March 24, 1945. Third Army doesn't consolidate. They attack. Lead elements drive toward Frankfurt. They advance 30 miles in 24 hours. March 25. Frankfurt falls. Third Army doesn't pause to celebrate. They keep moving. By evening, they're 20 miles beyond Frankfurt. Bradley receives position reports and marks them on his map with increasing disbelief. They're moving too fast, he tells his operations officer. They're going to overextend. Sir, should we order them to slow down? Bradley considers this. Then remembers every other time he's ordered Patton to slow down. It never works. No. Let him go. But tell our intelligence people to keep close track of Third Army positions. I want to know where George is at all times. Yes, sir. It's a reasonable order. It proves impossible to execute. Section 3, March 26th, the first he's where? March 26th, 1945. Morning. Bradley receives the position report, Third Army in Aschaffenburg. He calls Patton. It takes 20 minutes to get through. Third Army's communications are stretched thin by their rapid advance. George, you're in Aschaffenburg? That's right. You were in Frankfurt yesterday. That's 60 miles. 63, actually, Patton corrects. I measured it. George, you can't advance 60 miles in one day. I just did, Patton interrupts. Brad, the Germans are finished. They're retreating in chaos. Every day we don't advance is a day they get more organized. So I'm advancing. Every single day. Your supply lines are keeping up, Patton says. Barely. But they're keeping up. Brad, I know you're worried. But trust me. I can feel it. The Germans are broken. One more push and they'll collapse completely. Where are you planning to go next? Würzburg. Then Nuremberg. Then we'll see. Maybe Prague. Maybe Austria. Wherever the Germans are, that's where I'm going. George, I can't authorize you to go wherever you want. Then don't authorize it, Patton says cheerfully. Just don't order me to stop. I'll take silence as permission. The line goes dead again. Bradley looks at his operations officer. He's going to give me a heart attack before this war ends. Section 4, March 27th to 28th. Losing track March 27th, 1945. Bradley's intelligence section tries to track Third Army's movements. It proves nearly impossible. Position reports arrive 6 to 12 hours late. By the time Bradley marks Third Army's position on his map, they've already moved. Sir, Third Army reports they've taken Würzburg, Anade reports. Bradley marks it on the map. When did they take it? The message is dated yesterday afternoon, sir. So maybe 18 hours ago. Which means they're probably not there anymore, Bradley mutters. They're probably 50 miles beyond it. Sir, should we request more frequent position updates? We can request. Doesn't mean George will provide them. He's too busy advancing to file paperwork. March 28th. Another report arrives, Third Army elements approaching Nuremberg. Bradley stares at the map. Nuremberg is 100 miles from Frankfurt. Third Army has advanced 100 miles in 4 days. That's 25 miles per day, his operations officer calculates. That's faster than the invasion of France. I know, Bradley says quietly. And George isn't slowing down. Section 5, March 29th. The Eisenhower call March 29th, 1945. Eisenhower calls Bradley. Brad, where is Third Army? Good question, sir. That's not an answer. Sir, their last position report put them near Nuremberg. But that was 8 hours ago. They could be anywhere within a 50-mile radius by now. You don't know where your own army is? Sir, they're advancing faster than we can track them. By the time position reports arrive, they're outdated. Eisenhower is silent for a moment. Brad, I need to know where Third Army is. The Russians are advancing from the east. We have agreed upon demarcation lines. If Patton advances too far east, he could run into Soviet forces. I'll contact Third Army headquarters and get current positions. Do that. And Brad? Tell George to slow down. I'll tell him, sir. Whether he listens is another matter. Bradley calls Third Army headquarters. He reaches General Hobart Gay, Patton's chief of staff. Gay, where is Third Army? Elements are approaching Nuremberg, sir. Other elements are pushing toward Bayreuth. Some units are securing our southern flank near Schweinfurt. Bradley marks all 3 locations on his map. They form a triangle over 60 miles across. Where is Patton? We're not entirely sure, sir. You don't know where your own commanding general is? Sir, General Patton is conducting forward reconnaissance. He does that a lot. He'll check in when he feels like it. Bradley pinches the bridge of his nose. When he last checked in, where was he? Aschaffenburg, sir. This morning. That was 8 hours ago. Yes, sir. So he could be anywhere. Pretty much, sir. After hanging up, Bradley's operations officer asks, "Should we be worried?" "Always," Bradley replies. "With George, you should always be worried." Section 6, March 30th. The Nuremberg Advance, March 30th, 1945. Elements of Third Army reach Nuremberg. Nuremberg, Hitler's ceremonial city, where the Nazi Party held its massive rallies, the symbolic heart of Nazi power. And Third Army has just arrived at its gates, 200 miles from the Rhine, after advancing across Germany in a single week. When Bradley receives the report, he immediately calls Eisenhower. "Sir, Third Army has reached Nuremberg." "Already? I thought they were at Würzburg yesterday." "They were. They covered 60 miles in 36 hours. Eisenhower is quiet. "Then, Brad, that's insane. No army can sustain that pace." "Apparently Third Army can." "Sir, I think Patton is trying to reach Czechoslovakia before the Soviets." "He can't do that. We have agreed upon demarcation lines with Stalin." "Sir, I don't think George cares about demarcation lines. I think he's trying to advance as far as possible before someone orders him to stop." "Then order him to stop." "Sir, every time I order George to stop, he finds a loophole. He'll say he's consolidating forward positions or eliminating enemy resistance, or some other excuse that technically isn't disobeying orders while still advancing." Eisenhower laughs despite himself. "He's ungovernable." "Yes, sir. But he's also winning the war faster than anyone else." "Fine. Let him advance. But Brad, keep track of him. I need to know where he is. If he runs into Soviet forces accidentally, it could cause an international incident." "I'm trying, sir. But George moves faster than my intelligence can track." Section 7, April 1st. The Saxon Advance, April 1st, 1945. Third Army pushes into Saxony. Position reports arrive sporadically. Bradley's map now shows Third Army spread across 150 miles of German territory, advancing on multiple axes simultaneously. "Sir, we're having trouble maintaining communications with Third Army," the signals officer reports. "They're advancing so fast that communication lines can't keep up. So we have an entire army operating semi-independently because they're moving too fast to coordinate with?" Bradley asks. "Yes, sir. Essentially." Bradley searches for words. "That's completely contrary to every principle of modern military command." "Yes, sir." "And it's working?" "Apparently, sir. Third Army casualties are low. German resistance is collapsing. They're achieving objectives ahead of schedule." Bradley shakes his head in disbelief. Only Patton could make chaos into a winning strategy. Section 8, April 3rd. The Czechoslovakia Question, April 3rd, 1945. Bradley receives intelligence. Third Army units are approaching the Czechoslovakian border. He immediately calls Eisenhower. "Sir, Patton is about to enter Czechoslovakia." "He can't. We've agreed that Czechoslovakia is in the Soviet sphere. Sir, I don't think George cares about spheres. He cares about advancing." "Then stop him." "Sir, by the time I send orders to stop, he'll already be across the border. Communications are too slow to keep up with his advance." Eisenhower is furious. "Brad, get George on the phone. Right now. I don't care if you have to drive to wherever he is personally. I need to talk to him before he causes a diplomatic crisis." Bradley spends 2 hours trying to locate Patton. He's not at Third Army headquarters. He's not at any forward command post. He's not answering radio calls. Finally, someone reports seeing Patton's jeep near Bayreuth, 60 miles from where he's supposed to be. Bradley sends MPs to find him. They report back 4 hours later. Sir, we found General Patton. He was conducting reconnaissance near the Czech border. Is he still there? No, sir. By the time we reached that location, he'd already moved somewhere else. Bradley puts his head in his hands. I'm chasing a ghost. Section 9, April 5th. The confrontation, April 5th, 1945. Patton finally returns to 3rd Army headquarters. Bradley is waiting for him. So is a phone connection to Eisenhower. George, sit down. Ike wants to talk to you. Patton picks up the phone. This is Patton. George, Eisenhower's voice is cold. Do you have any idea where you are? I'm in Erlangen, sir. 3rd Army headquarters. I don't mean right this second. I mean over the past 2 weeks. Brad has been trying to track your movements, and you've been effectively invisible. I've been advancing, sir. Winning the war. I thought that was the goal. The goal is to win while coordinating with Allied forces. Eisenhower snaps. You can't just race across Germany without telling anyone where you are. Why not? Patton asks genuinely. The Germans can't stop me. I'm advancing faster than they can react. If I slow down to coordinate, I give them time to organize defenses. George, you're 200 miles ahead of everyone else. Your flanks are completely exposed. One German counterattack could cut you off. Except the Germans aren't counterattacking, Patton replies calmly. They're running. Sir, I've been doing this for 3 years. Trust me. I know when an enemy is beaten. And the Germans are beaten. This isn't the time for caution. This is the time to finish them. Eisenhower takes a deep breath. George, I'm not ordering you to stop. But I am ordering you to file regular position reports. I need to know where you are. Can you do that? I'll try, sir. That's not a yes. It's the best you're going to get, Patton says. Sir, if I stop to file position reports every hour, I'm not advancing. You can have coordination or you can have speed. Pick one. Eisenhower hangs up without responding. Patton hands the phone back to Bradley. He's mad. You think? Bradley says sarcastically. George, you've advanced 200 miles in 2 weeks. You're operating semi-independently because you're moving too fast to coordinate. You're approaching Soviet lines without authorization. You've given me more heart attacks in 2 weeks than the entire rest of the war combined. Patton grins. But we're winning, Brad. That's the only reason Ike hasn't fired you. Then I'll keep winning, Patton says. As long as I win, I can do whatever I want. He's not entirely wrong. Section 10, April 11th. Buchenwald, April 11th, 1945. 3rd Army units liberate Buchenwald concentration camp. When Patton visits the camp and sees the horrors there, something changes in him. He calls Bradley that night. His voice is different. Harder. Colder. Brad, I found something today. Something that makes everything make sense. What? A concentration camp. Buchenwald. Brad, you need to see it. Everyone needs to see it. Because this is what we're fighting. This is why speed matters. Every day we delay, more people die in these camps. Bradley hears something in Patton's voice he's rarely heard before, genuine emotion without bluster. George, I'll visit. But what does this have to do with your advance? Everything, Patton says quietly. I've been pushing 3rd Army hard. Too hard, some say. But Brad, if we'd advanced faster, we could have liberated this camp weeks ago. Thousands of people died because we weren't fast enough. George, you can't blame yourself. I'm not blaming myself, Patton interrupts. I'm explaining why I won't slow down. Every day we pause, every day we consolidate, every day we wait for perfect logistics, people die. Not just soldiers. Innocent people in camps like this. So you're going to keep racing ahead? Until the war ends or I'm dead, Patton confirms. Brad, I know I'm difficult. I know I don't coordinate well. I know I give you headaches. But I'm going to keep advancing. Because that's how we end this. Not through careful planning. Through relentless pressure until Germany collapses completely. After hanging up, Bradley sits quietly for a long moment. Then he tells his operations officer, "Stop trying to slow Patton down. Just try to keep track of where he is. And pray he doesn't start World War III with the Soviets." Section 11, April 15th. The final push April 15th to 30th, 1945. Third Army continues advancing. Into Saxony. Into Bavaria. Toward Austria. Toward Czechoslovakia. Every day, Bradley receives position reports that show Third Army somewhere unexpected. "Sir, Third Army has entered Austria." "He's where?" "Austria, sir. Apparently, they crossed the border yesterday." "Sir, Third Army has reached the Czech border." "He's where?" "Czechoslovakia, sir. General Patton is requesting permission to liberate Prague." "Sir, Third Army has made contact with Soviet forces." "He's where?" "Meeting with Soviet commanders, sir." Apparently, General Patton personally drove to their headquarters to coordinate boundaries. Bradley's operations officer starts a tally. Times General Bradley has said he's where? This month, 17 and counting. Section 12, May 8, 1945. VE Day, May 8, 1945. Germany surrenders. Patton is in Czechoslovakia when the news arrives. Third Army is 300 miles from where they started on the Rhine, having advanced across Germany in 6 weeks. Bradley calls to congratulate him. "George, we did it. The war is over." "For now," Patton says ominously. "What do you mean, for now?" "I mean the Germans are defeated. But the Soviets are our next problem. Brad, you should see how they're behaving in Czechoslovakia. They're not liberating. They're occupying. This isn't over. George, the war with Germany is over. That's enough." "Is it?" Patton challenges. "Brad, we had the chance to take Prague before the Soviets. We had the chance to take Berlin. But we stopped because of political considerations. Those decisions are going to haunt us." Bradley doesn't entirely disagree. "But there's nothing to be done now. George, where are you?" "Pilsen. Western Czechoslovakia. Meeting with Czech resistance leaders." "You're still 300 miles from headquarters." "I know," Patton says. "I like it out here. Closer to the action." "The action is over, George." "For now," Patton repeats. Closing March, April 1945. Third Army advances 300 miles across Germany in 6 weeks. They move so fast that their own commanders can't track them. Position reports arrive hours late, already obsolete. Communications can't keep up. Supply lines stretch to the breaking point. And yet, they win. Quickly. Decisively. With fewer casualties than expected. "He's where?" becomes Bradley's constant refrain. Patton appears in places he's not supposed to be, advancing faster than anyone predicted, operating semi-independently because coordination would slow him down. It's chaos. It's contrary to doctrine. It violates every principle of modern military command. And it works. Because Patton understands something fundamental. In the final weeks of a collapsing enemy, speed matters more than coordination. Momentum matters more than perfect logistics. Relentless pressure wins faster than careful planning. He's where? For words that sum up Bradley's experience commanding Patton in the final months of the war. Patton was always somewhere he wasn't supposed to be. Moving faster than he was supposed to move. Achieving objectives he wasn't supposed to reach yet. Bradley spent 6 weeks trying to track Patton's movements and failing. Because Patton moved faster than intelligence could follow. "You're going to give me a heart attack," Bradley told him repeatedly. "But we're winning," Patton always replied. And they were. Third Army's advance across Germany remains one of the fastest military movements in history. Not because it was perfectly coordinated. Not because it followed doctrine. Not because it was safe. But because Patton refused to slow down. Refused to consolidate. Refused to wait for perfect conditions. He just advanced. Every day. Every hour. Until Germany collapsed. He's where? The four words that defined the final months of the European War. Because with Patton, the answer was always the same: somewhere he wasn't supposed to be yet. Doing something he wasn't supposed to have done. Winning faster than anyone thought possible.